What challenge are you facing today? What difficulty looms before you today? What obstacles are in your pathway today? What mountain is before you today? There is a God that's bigger than your mountain. There is a God that is greater than your obstacles. There is a God that's larger than the difficulties. You and I can go on to conquer every mountain. And in faith, believe that through Jesus Christ, you are a conqueror. Maybe you're facing a challenge today. That seems impossible to you. Maybe it's bigger than you can handle. But I want to remind you, we serve a big God. Nothing is too difficult for him. Maybe you've made God too small. He is bigger than your challenge. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you could ever ask or think today. How big is your God? Well, the great D.L. Moody, the evangelist, was dying, and he turned to his children, and it was reported that he said, if your partner is God, make your plans large. Our plans should be big. Sometimes we plan for small things, and we forget that we're dealing with the God of the universe, the one that created the heavens and the earth. Chuck Swindoll said this, and I quote, "The more you know God, the bigger he becomes." Isn't that true? As you go from Genesis to Revelation, and you're looking at all these different things that happen in the Bible, the people that God used, all the different events that happen, you're looking at a God who is mighty and big, right? And that is very helpful when you're going through a trial in your life. So, here's the big question. This is really what it all comes down to. How big is your God? How big is your God? Can he do it or not? Whatever your issue is, whatever your problem is, whatever your concern is, whatever is threatening your life, whatever is threatening your home, your family, your marriage, your children, your livelihood, whatever you're facing, is God big enough? God has some supernatural solutions he'd like to introduce you to. God has some other answers for you if you and I would have the faith to trust him, to lay those things at his feet and say, Lord, I can't do this, but you can. I can't solve this, but you can. I can't make this better. I can't heal this. I can't restore this, but you can. And I'm going to put my trust in you. See, the how-to is none of your business. You keep getting in the way of the blessing because you all up in the how-to part of it. Show me the scripture where he tells you to figure out how to do anything. He doesn't ask you to how to nothing. You just need the word. You need to know what it's saying applied to you. You know why? Because it's a promise of his. He isn't never lie. He always come through. The question is, what are you looking at? Are you focused on the problem? Or are you focused on the God that's bigger than the problem? If you focus on the problems, you are going to tremble in fear rather than move forward in faith. God doesn't get small. It's just our vision of him is small. Quit tying God's hands and take the limits off of it. Your situation is not too big for God. What you're dealing with it's not like God haven't seen it before. He's done it before he can do it again. There's no sickness that God haven't healed. There's not a soul that he can't deliver. There's not a marriage he can't put back together. But you got to trust him and take the limits off. But we do put limits on God sometimes in our mind. We have a version of what God is capable of. We have a version of what God is like. We have a version of what Jesus is like.